um, the world of
Yeah.
wine, the world atlas of wine, the world atlas of wine. Sorry, I've been sipping on some cab already.
Hey,
Uh,
I'm
yeah, I
getting
see.
ready to get started with you.
All right, welcome to How's Your Wine. This is the very first episode, so hopefully in a couple of years, when you guys look back at this, um, you're seeing me and my guest tonight really blow up in the wine industry. So tonight I'm here with Will Uncorks. You can find him on Instagram at the handle Will Uncorks. And I'm gonna let you take it away, Will. Introduce yourself.
Yep. Well, like you said, my name is Will. I host a wine page on Instagram, Will Uncork. Started my wine journey when I was around 21. With the basics, and then my grandmother turned me on to Italian wine called Voulet. It was still like a sweet red wine, but it was a little different than what I was used to before. So
Yeah.
they got me off of the Moscatos and other things and started kind of progressing me. So that was how I got started. Yep.
Awesome. And where are you from?
I'm from DC.
DC, cool. And you still stay in DC right now?
Yep, I'm on the outskirts. So I'm in up Marlboro, Maryland. So PG County, right on the outside of DC, about 15, 20 minutes out.
How long have you been on this wine journey?
The wine journey, it's been a while. I'm not trying to give away my age, but it's been about a little over 10 years.
Okay. We're probably about the same age, maybe.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see. I'm really just starting out in the wine game. Started out a little late. You kind of grow up into the college lifestyle where you're drinking beer or playing, beer pong, and now you're trying to elevate into, a whole new stratosphere of drinks. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took me a long time to give up the tequila and everything else that I was
Right.
drinking, and make wine my main thing. But once I got into it, I think it was around 2017. I bought a house, and when I moved in, a friend of mine, she brought me this beautiful bottle. It was an Amarone, and it was like again, it was one of those wines that was like another stepping stone where it took me to another level. So I had to, start really exploring. And then a few months later, the same friend and I, we went to France, and again, that became like the thing. And after that, it was full tilt. So once I got, my feet in Paris and everything, and started drinking wines everywhere, oh yeah, it changed it.
So what would you say maybe are some of the hurdles that you had, throughout your wine journey?
Well, being from this area, the area that I'm in is predominantly Black, and a lot of the people in the area do not drink wine, or if they do drink wine, it's very casual, and a lot of people are intimidated by wine. It's a very hard industry to get into and crack. So, coming from a family that didn't really drink wine and a community that didn't really drink wine, it was really just finding ways to get the knowledge and learn about ways to further my education in it.
Exactly. So you recommended a book. I got the book actually right behind me. Popped it. Um, the world of
Yeah.
wine, the world atlas of wine, the world atlas of wine. Sorry, I've been sipping on some cab already.
Hey,
Yeah,
I'm
I
getting ready
see.
to get started with you.
What are you sipping on right now?
I'm drinking a non-vintage Cabernet from Harvester.
Okay.
So this is something that one of the guys at the Total Wine in my area suggested for me. I kind of gave him my palate, and he, we went through a few wines that he thought I should try. So,
I'm sipping on Eccentric. I also got from Total Wine. People sleeping on Total Wine. They don't really know.
Total Wine has everything, man.
Everything. Yeah, this is a 2020 from Argentina. So so far so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you recommended this book to me after like 2 days of contacting me. Obviously,
Right.
I sent you the DM first just to like get a feel for who else is in the Black wine stratosphere. So, what other recommendations would you have for people who are looking to get into wine?
One of the first books that I ever read, because I read a lot of articles, but I don't read a lot of books. I'm just not that kind of guy. But one of the first books that I did read from front to back was 99 Bottles by Andre Mack.
Okay.
So he's a Black sommelier. I believe he's from Texas, but he's residing in New York now. But he's an excellent, excellent writer and sommelier in general. He has a YouTube page that you guys should probably check out. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So that book kind of goes through his whole like path of like his journey from working in restaurants to ending up becoming like one of the most, well-known sommeliers and now a winemaker as well. So it's a very fun read.
That's real. So your grandma, you mentioned that she introduced you to wine. How did
Mhm.
she get into wine? Knowing, the backstory of how you got into it.
She's my grandmother was a drinker. So in her earlier ages, she was just a drinker. So she kind of just dabbled in wine a little bit, and she would find things when she went to her local liquor store, and she would try them out. And if she liked something, she would tell me, and we would drink some together. So that's something that we still do to this day. We'll if we find a bottle that we like, we'll come and sit together and have a
Already.
nice little drink of wine.
That's a great benefit to have, knowing grandma's still kicking it with you and sipping on some wine. Someone who started you into that culture, so that's amazing.
Yeah.
What are some of your goals and dreams with being certified? You're level 2. I saw on your Instagram, right?
Yep. I just got my level 2 certification yesterday. So
Congrats.
yeah, I'm very happy about it. Some of my goals in the wine industry are to kind of, help other people in the Black community and other people of color kind of grow on their wine journey and help them find, easier paths than I had to go through when I was trying to learn about wine. Also, my ultimate goal is to open a winery in the area. Virginia and Maryland, they kind of have they have a wine scene where they're starting to have wineries, but I want to bring it to another level.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that I can do that in the next coming few years. So that's the big goal.
We can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. Hopefully, I'll be on the same type of path, and maybe we can link up and work on some things together.
Absolutely.
Who do you go to for your wine advice? Obviously, you mentioned your grandmother. Who else do you connect to for that advice?
Now that I'm starting to kind of gain some connections within the community, I've got a few people. I have a brother-in-law who was working for Total Wine for a long time. So me and him kind of go back and forth with ideas and stuff. And we do our tours in Napa and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So he's one of the people I look at. And we kind of bounce ideas off of each other locally. Some of the other people, friend of mine, Brene Royal out in Napa, she's working at Monte Rosso Vineyard. Me and her had a great chat a few weeks ago, and she kind of laid out a few things for me, put me on a good path. So she's excellent. She was an excellent resource for me. So have to give her a shout out. There's probably a few other people that, if I wasn't drinking, they would come to mind. But yeah.
So you mentioned Napa. I think everyone has that I can relate to as far as like the wine industry, even just enthusiasts, has Napa on their bucket list for wineries to go to. Mm-hmm. Where else do you have on your winery bucket list?
Oh man. So I do a lot of travel for wine. So I've done Greece and I'm getting ready to go back, as well as we're going to do Italy. So all this is happening next week. So we're doing Italy, Greece, and Turkey. So those are high on my list. Greece was amazing. Try Greek wines, man. That's some of the best advice I can give. They have some amazing wines.
Okay.
Other places that I want to go, Chile. I definitely want to see some South Africa and Australia and see that wine scene because they have amazing wines coming out of those areas as well. Yep. And there's a tour that a friend of mine is on right now in Champagne. So they do this tour. I have to look up where it's from and I'll get it to you. But they do a tour through Champagne and you learn about the champagnes from the region.
Yeah, I got to add that to the list too. I know I'm hoping to go to Europe in August, going to Prague, potentially going to Austria. So I know they've got a couple of wineries out there. So definitely looking forward to adding that to the rotation too.
Oh, definitely.
A couple more questions before I let you go. I know it's Friday night. You're trying to finish that bottle tonight. So what wine most describes who you are as a person?
Ooh, that's an excellent question, man. I'm gonna say, are we talking varietal? Are we talking?
Let's do both, varietal, and then is there a specific bottle? Like, okay, this is me. This is who I am.
All right, I'm gonna go in two completely different directions then.
All right. Let's hear it.
I think that the wine that the varietal that I think would be most descriptive of me would probably be Tempranillo. It's a big-bodied, smoky, scented kind of wine, and I love it. So that kind of represents the kind of fragrances I wear. It represents like my personality. I'm kind of, I'm restricted, but then once I get into an environment that I'm comfortable in, I'm just,
Exactly.
I'm having a good time.
That's a good answer. I actually kind of have the same type of personality, so I definitely vibe with you on that.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think if it was a specific wine, I would have to go in a completely different direction, probably go with Orange Swift, 8 Years in the Desert, just because of how eccentric he is as a winemaker in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very out of the box. He doesn't necessarily conform. And I know some people don't really care for Orange Swift, but I mean, I've been a fan of his wines for a long time, or Dave Finney, who is the maker of Orange Swift brand. So I think that would be my second answer.
That's real.
Yeah.
Orange Swift, I had to check that out. Tempranillo, I know Campo Vieja,
Mhm.
I think I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah.
They have a really, really nice Tempranillo that I tried. They actually, like one of the first brands that reached out to me about just creating content. So
Okay.
the Tempranillo answer
Awesome.
is tough. I like that.
Yeah. I'm really liking them, and I might butcher the name of this region, but it's Ribera del Duero. They have amazing Tempranillos, man.
Okay.
I think one of my favorites right now is PSI. I mean, I love it. I went to a tapas restaurant out in DC, and they had it and brought it out for us, and it just, yeah, it was amazing. I made the wine shop down the street start carrying it. So,
So have you worked at a winery or any wine stores in the past?
I haven't. I've just been an enthusiast, and yeah, it's been just drinking. So if I turn the camera a little bit,
Yeah.
I get a lot of experience.
Yeah. So for you, you've got your certification. How long has this process taken? Now that you just got your certification 2 level today.
Yeah. So the process is the class I think was 5 weeks long.
Okay.
I did it online through Napa Valley Wine Academy. It was 5 week long class, and then you take your exam. You schedule your exam during the time that you're taking the course, and then once you're finished with the course and you feel comfortable enough to take the exam, they give you a pretty wide range of dates that you can choose from. You take the exam, and then I think it takes like 10 to 12 weeks for you to get the results, which is kind of like the hard part because you're just sitting there waiting to figure out like how good you did or
Right.
how bad you did, depending on.
So describe that emotion, like, or even the range of emotions that you had during that waiting process.
Man, like, I mean, I remember just sitting down for the exam, and I didn't feel like there was any pressure at first. And then I sat down and my chest just got tight and I'm sitting there nervous and I'm at home. So I couldn't imagine taking it in person and just how that would feel. But it was definitely a range. It took a while for me to catch my breath during the exam, but once I got going and I started, answering the questions and getting the comfort level, and I looked down and I was 40 questions through and there's 50 questions on the exam.
Right.
And I felt like I pretty much knew all the answers to that point. I felt pretty good. So at that point I felt good. But then, once you wait for 10 weeks to get results, you kind of start, questioning yourself. Did I do as good as I thought I did?
Yeah.
But yeah, I did well. So I'm happy with that.
2 more questions before we go. First question is, with COVID, with inflation, with everything in between over the last 2 years, how have you adjusted with so much change in this country?
Man, it's been actually fun. Honestly, I've gotten a lot more opportunities to drink wine because I'm not in the office as much. So, being at home, you get to just kind of relax and be in your own environment, and you don't feel the pressure of having to wake up and drive somewhere in the morning. And that's allowed me to kind of enjoy my wines a bit more. We've also gotten a lot of traveling, me and my wife, and gotten to go to Napa quite a few times during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been, it's been various different experiences depending on what part of COVID it was when we went. But I mean, getting to travel and do things, it's been a blessing. I like the fact that, I mean, I'm not happy that we had COVID, but I am, glad that now we're getting a lot more opportunities for telework and other things that allow us to have more time to do the things that we love instead of, just, the 9 to 5 and
Program on that.
Yeah. So I also I didn't bring this up earlier, but I was hosting these wine nights at my home.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea was to get my friends and other people in the community a little bit more engaged in wine and give them a safe place to start understanding it a little bit better. So I would invite them over, give them a list of, wines that, that they shouldn't bring because, and it wasn't like these are bad wines. It was just like, these are wines that everyone gets all the time.
Right.
And I want you to kind of step out of that, like that little box and kind of expand yourself. So we did that a few times. We did 3 before COVID. And then, after COVID happened, we had to slow that down a bit. And then recently in December, we finally hosted the 4th one. And it was huge, man. We had like 100 people in the house. And but it shows that people are starting to get interested in wine. And it's an excellent thing. So we did a Judgment of Paris theme for the most recent one. So they got to get a little bit of wine history and also interact and kind of gauge French wines versus American wines. So it was a fun experience.
That's real. And that's a perfect segue to the last question. You mentioned you host wine parties with the homies. How have you really built that connection in addition to the wine parties around wine?
It's been, it's just life, man. I've got my friend networks, and then I also I'm just around a lot of different people all the time, and I'm a talkative person. And I tend to make friends or kind of end up making friends of friends, and we all kind of end up being like a family. So this community is very tight-knit, and a lot of the people that I meet end up a part of it some way or another. So, and I'm very welcoming. So I try to, if someone's interested in something, I try to, make myself available for them.
I appreciate it, man. I'm definitely looking to get my first steps into my certification. So hopefully over the next couple of weeks, try and read this book that you recommended, and then
don't read that whole book, man.
I ain't gonna read the whole book.
That's a heavy book.
I'm gonna make sure for sure, like the Prague section, and then the Austria section, I read that just in preparation for my trip. But the whole book, I got a life, man. I'm gonna have to do something else with
it. Absolutely, man. Have fun, and anything you need, man, always hit me up.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Will.
All right, take care.
Appreciate it.